Waiting for a fight is harder than the fight itself. Fire. If I say what I think in fact, you will not publish it. Say it, we promise we will publish it. No, we don't need to publish anything. Let's be delicate. Wait, maybe they're calling us. There is war, and we have the press. Cannon. Fire. Nastya Stenko, journalist. Our story today is about the 108th Separate Mountain Assault Battalion. This unit has been in the Bakhmut sector for 10 months now, and part of this path has been very, very hard fighting. We will tell you about the work of the battalion's legendary aerial reconnaissance men, how their laboratory works, and what they do on 3D printers, and we will also tell you how they capture Wagner mercenaries. If you like our video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to our channel. We are a little short of 1 million subscribers, and we would also be very grateful for your comments, which we all read and sometimes even reply to. Bakhmut District, end of February 2023. It's okay, it is ours. Really? Thank you. Does anyone want some water? No. I cannot say that the situation in her mortar unit commander has not changed critically here. Hasn't changed critically since what period, like January or December? For 6 months. If there are any small movements, they are local, tactical, but not strategic. I suspect that the enemy simply cannot cope assaulting in many directions at the same time, and I believe will not be able to. Why do you think they will not? Because they're faggots. The fact is that they are taking in quantity, not quality. On February 24, we had the effect of surprise. And then during the fighting, we regrouped enough, assessed our capabilities, distributed our forces, and thus it turns out that having a numerical advantage on their side, with smaller forces, properly managing our capabilities, acting competently, we are holding the frontiers that are entrusted to us. For our battalion, which has been doing this work for a long time, many years, the situation is under control. Everyone knows their job. Reconnaissance men fly, infantry keep watch, and artillerymen fire. It bounces off. What are you doing with this? It froze in the cold. There's nothing wrong with it. It is the lubricant we're using that's the problem. It's French-made, right? Yes, it is a French heavy mortar, Mo 120-61. It is now being massively supplied to the armed forces of Ukraine, IFU. And what do you think of it? The mortar is excellent compared to its Soviet analogs. Compared to classic mortars, it is more convenient, given that it is more bulky and voluminous, and because of this, it is much easier to aim than on a classic mortar. It has a range of about 8 kilometers with conventional ammunition, not rocket-assisted projectile. Let's check. OKA 4 to 61, 11 to 16. 11 to 61, 4 to 61, right? The 7th charge, mine to the barrel. Mine is in the barrel. Mortar ears. Fire. There is no shortage of ammunition in the troops. There is just a limit which is desirable to adhere to if possible. In one artillery unit per day, I'm talking about our unit. We can shot 50 mortar rounds per day in some critical circumstances, which is enough. Mine is in the barrel. 4 to 61. Yes, 10 to 16. Don't rush. Copy that. Mortar yours. Fire. What do you think about demobilization? About war weariness? About who should fight? About demobilization? We don't need demobilization. My boys are ready to rot here. Are you joking? No, I'm not. Demobilization. Well, I don't know about demobilization, but rotation is desirable. People need to rest and recover. A soldier is effective as long as he is rested. It's just that you know that there is this discussion, that mobilization continues, and some say that professional military should fight, while others say that professional military will soon run out if they are not replaced. All the discussion in the political environment is just a talk. There must be actions. And in wartime, actions are done by the president. Let the president issue a decree that will determine our prospects, and then we will talk about something. Until there is a decree, we continue to work, hold the line, and do our job. Mine is in the barrel. Mortar yours. Fire. What did you work on? The facts. Post me saying exactly this. Of course we're feeling sick and tired of it. We're not robots. Do you think we will rot forever? Of course we want rotation and replacements, but we understand the situation, that this is our job and we have to do it. People are not robots. Even a fool understands that people are not robots and no one can fight here for decades. It is generally accepted, and I don't remember where I read it, that an effective soldier's lifespan is a year and a half. This is the period during which they are able to squeeze out their maximum at the front. Nasty, do you know that humanity is adapted to comfort? No one consciously wants to go to die. It's normal for a person to not want to go to die. But there is a constitutional duty, right? That's what I'm talking about, responsibility. Sometimes, in order to convince a person, to remind him that there is a constitutional and manly duty, he needs to be forcibly taken and thrown into a car. What is on their opinion, I don't give a fuck what they don't like. Once again, these people are not robots. There are people over there, let them fight. And I'll stay at home. These guys already know how. If I was sitting at home, I would say the same. I send my greetings to my beloved wife Natalia and 2 sons, Lyuchik and Alexander. As you can see, we are doing well and working. I love you and miss you. That's it. Goodbye. Darn all that. The Taiga winter snow. Damn. How can you fight in the middle of all this? Can I come in? Edelweiss, a friend of mine, was passing a roadblock with an Edelweiss sticker, symbol of 10th Brigade, on his car, and they said, "Well, Edelweiss, okay, drive ahead, the 10th Brigade is now respected." Yeah. The 10th is really respected. Really. It's true, and 108 is very much so. Here we are, we came to your place, and you have a small dugout here. And you are here together. You probably know everything about each other. Here is Vasia, my brother. We know everything about each other. We do. We are family friends. What do you mean? Is he your brother in arms, or is he really your brother? And we don't look alike. You do. Brother told Jan. But I'm talking about Vasia and I were on training together. I thought so, that maybe you're brothers. Well, we trained, but we did not know each other. He was in, say, the 1st company, and I was in the 2nd company. You know, in the training companies. We did not know each other, we just saw each other, and that was it. It so happened that we came to the unit together, and here we found many common interests. Our wives became friends. We are family friends now. For example, sometimes there were moments when I could not get in touch for 3 or 4 days. My wife called him. So Veja said that I was fine. That kind of... Maybe she called just Veja. Yes, she might be calling just Veja. She does. You just might not know about that. I often hear that the Ukrainian army is better than the Russian army because there is a lot of responsibility, on company commanders, even platoon commanders. You make decisions yourself, that there is no such rigid vertical as in Russia. There, until an order is issued from the top to the bottom, no one will move. Call sign academic, company commander. This is correct. Then why do you think we stopped such a massive offensive on February 24th? It was due to the fact that low-level commanders from the battalion commander and lower, they made independent decisions. For example, as in our unit, as in any other unit, a company commander can easily call in artillery or mortars, of course, if he's in the immediate order. There's no need for me to go to the battalion commander and ask him to give me the go-ahead, tell how much and so on. It's all is decided instantly. They manage very well, even the highest commanders. You say so because they are here right now. Call sign official education teacher, grenade launcher crew commander. No, it's real because I understand it a little bit, to be honest. I'm just telling you, even the older guys, there are Afghan veterans fighting with us, people who have been in Afghanistan. And they respect them, they really respect them, it is a fact. 90% of my work is with people. Indeed, our main weapon is people. But new mobilized people are still coming in all the time. How do you select them for the 10th Brigade? Well, to your battalions. We do not select them. This is a very painful topic that we will not talk about. Yes, so we will leave it out. Because you don't select whoever is brought in and... Well, yeah. It's just, we have only swear words regarding that. Zayden company commander, the most motivated ones have been fighting since February, And now come less motivated ones. And now those who were brought here come. Who gets here? Those who were caught come here. Those who wanted to fight, they are already here. Those who wanted to, those who aspired, those who wanted to change something, those who wanted to defend something, they are either dead or seriously wounded or simply no longer have the ability or strength. Why people are taken, I'll say it like this, because people are caught right on the street, older people. Why they don't come? We don't get a lot of young people coming to us. I don't need 18-year-olds to come to me, for example. 18-year-old boys, I don't need them. I need people between 25 and 35 years old. That is the best age, as people no longer have that childish fear. Such childish fear. More serious guys, they understand. Why, for example, do jocks with those biceps and triceps, They can do sports, lift weights, they have the health, anyone. And here come older guys who have already broken their backs to do something, to have something to live on when they were still working for their families, for their children, and then they came here. There was replenishment of personnel recently. I went to meet people, and the youngest one, there was 46 years old. And one of them told me so. I asked him what's up, and he said, well, in 1985 I dreamed of joining the paratroopers. I said, well, my friend, dreams do come true. You're almost in the paratrooper unit, but in general our people in my company are patriots. They are heroes. In short, they are heroes. They are repelling such things here, such artillery strikes, in such conditions that I, as a commander, have nothing to complain about them at all. Well, in short, they are great. It is true. I know how hard it is. It is a hell of a job. The infantry is carrying the entire burden of this war on their shoulders. Anyone can tell you that. And I want to hug and kiss each of them because the guys are carrying this on their shoulders. And they never, well, almost never whine or anything like that. Because they realize that they have to, because there is no one else but us. But the hardest part is what is in the infantry. It's like this routine, life in a trench, or... I mean, yes, there is shelling, there is... Psychologically, it is hard. It is scary. It's very close to the enemy, up to 40 meters away. The tension, daily, heavy tension. Well, for example, during the daytime, a person observes, a person sees, a person assesses the situation normally, and so on. At nighttime is a constant tension. A person is constantly on edge. It's very difficult morally. At a distance of 35 to 40 was from them. He talked to Wagner. Did you shouting back with them? Of course, I did. I told them, come here and what could I do? They were shouting, and this put a lot of pressure on people's psyches, and you have to somehow keep them. And it is very difficult morally. Because, well, huge missiles are not flying into your trench, of course, but you are very tense psychologically, and it is very difficult at night, because visibility is poor, you know. And they get high there, and start moving towards us. Seriously, maybe you saw a video of them creeping on the fallen bodies of their own. Since October it has been scary, when the first wave of mobilization passed. There? Yes. And not far from here, in the forest belt, we just killed them there in dozens and hundreds, and they kept coming. It was just like in some horror movie. And also, if they were somehow sane, one or two would have died, and they would have left. But they don't surrender, and they don't go back, because their own people, there would also. To be honest, they are strong warriors. Wagner's men, yes, they have good assault troopers there. It's not that I'm praising them and saying that we are bad. Compared to them, we are also strong. But Wagner, what I mean is that they have a very good discipline in terms of which retreating means either dying on the battlefield or dying there. You know, that's how they do it. They have no other option. How long has Wagner been with us? 3 months at least, maybe more. They've just been transferred to Solder. Well, we fine coped with them too. 3 months for sure, right? Wagner's could be different. Our company commander is now Pap. Yes. The commander of the first company. He's not far away, was captured. Over there, in the Usan forest strip. Also in the summer, right? Yes, in July, approximately. In general, those were probably the most difficult times. He was bringing people to the positions. They first withdrew. Then he brought these people back, and there were already. In the summer, it was everywhere, in the entire direction. Yes, because there was no ammunition, no weapons. There were no weapons. It was the most difficult period. And they were attacking like crazy with tanks. They were breaking through on 12 tanks, on 10 tanks. 7 soldiers were captured, and 4 of them returned. In what condition did they return from captivity, morally and physically? Of course, they lost weight. Morally unstable people need different types of rehabilitation. Well, yes, it is good they are back. It is good they are alive. Radio Callings, what are you lacking?
Імунітет уже сформувався.
Чого вам не вистачає?
Women.
Я теж хотів сказати.
Home, really? We miss home. Not even that. We would like to have 10 days at home and 2 months here. Me and my wife would be glad if it was at least this way. Is that low military footwear brand asked again? No, they are not. Sarcastically, these are women's footwear. These are army boots. Very good to say. They endured shrapnel, you see. And they are still intact. Well, they got scratched, not on my feet. They were in a vehicle which got hit and burnt, that's how. We had a fly-in. We bought a car, and he kept his stuff there. And he blames it on me. But look, God wants me to fight. Because a flak vest, helmet, extrusion with 2 grenades on it all survived that hit. Everything was intact. That is because a priest consecrated. So you understand, this is a luxurious dugout. Premium. The guys at the very front line cannot even dream about conditions like this. It's harsh there. We are creating conditions around us. We did not have a cook or a construction worker to do it all. But do you have a cook in your company? Yet it is everyone you see. We make sushi sometimes. So you did not have fresh fish delivery. Laughing, was it a hit?
Щось там прилетіло десь.
No, just the wind.
Вітер.
If it was, we would tell you.
Якщо прилетить щось, то ми вам скажемо.
There are no fly-ins here. We can tell you off the record, because it is classified,
Це дуже військова таємниця.
that we have strong magnetic fields here, so all the projectiles miss
Відлітають.
the Iron Dome.
Так,
That one is totally different, but if something hits, you will hear it well, believe me.
добре, повірте.
Through this year of war, I met a lot of guys who have had enough. They were motivated to fight at the beginning, waged this war honestly, but now they are fed up.
Зоріли, і це такі...
І це велика.
And that is a huge problem.
Як сказати, вони
They are physically capable, nobody will decommission them.
там на військово-лікарняна комісія їх признає фізично придатними.
But mentally, they are not prepared. And that is a big question what to do with them. When a young fellow under 25 sees death, you talk to someone and then they are gone.
Смерть. Ти говорив з людиною, а вже людини нема смерті. І він знає, що він там був, а вже немає. Його, наприклад, товариша і так далі.
When it is your comrade or something. That's why I don't want 18-year-old guys here.
40 навіть.
I require 25 to 40 even, more capable of withstanding the fear.
Кожен має страх. Нема такої людини.
Everybody is scared, but some can withstand it.
Все буде добре, що ти...
Ні, ти кажеш.
It's going to be fine. I know. Can you fight in such weather?
Та ні, розходимося.
Well, no, let's go home then, shall we?
Покажіть, може, вам бутерброд на дорогу.
Maybe you'll take a sandwich to go, or some water, or what? No, thank you. It was nice to meet you. See you around then.
Розвернули москвичом. Просто розвернули, поставили між коліями.
Fire.
Не потрібно переживати тут взагалі.
Do not worry. If we have to worry, I will tell you.
Ви встигнете нам сказати?
Почувайте себе вільно, ми навіть
Feel yourself at home.
сильно
We are at war, but have no worries.
Це ресурс все-таки переживання.
It burns your mental resources, and you have to have fortitude and stamina to play this game. What is your job now? Supporting assault battalions,
Батальйонів,
supporting shock infantry shooting in accordance with provided data, supporting general warfare.
координатам, тобто підтримуємо дію загальновійськового бою.
In percentage, it is about 70% infantry, 20% hardware, and 10% artillery.
10% це артилерійські установки їхні. Але
But the infantry is the most important now.
зараз вони
The Russians use infantry assault tactics now like World War II, when a dozen untrained men just advance at us being killed and stacked in front of us.
просто йдуть, закидуючи м'ясом наші позиції, виявляють наші вогневі засоби.
That is their way to perform reconnaissance.
І
And then their artillery is shooting at our undisclosed positions,
перетягування каната свого роду. Суто
sort of tug wars.
війну. Але
Mathematically speaking, we are losing this war.
спереді
But we are developing faster, we are more skilled and more motivated.
в цьому наша перевага.
That is our advantage. Attention, enemies. Do we load? Sure. Fire. We shot 30 times today, but that is nothing.
Не показник для нас.
We usually make 100 a day.
Це станом
It is as for this time 9:09 a madam.
9.
Yes, we do it 24/7 at night, at day. In the morning it does not matter.
Ранок нема різниці.
We do it when we have a target. Of course, it is not all sunshine and rainbows, but we do it all right, I think.
Непогано, мені здається.
Comparing what I was thinking at the beginning of this war, what was that? We are screwed. I understood that our ammo supply will last till the middle of March. I saw how everyone was highly motivated, but knowing how many ammo we have, we would have nothing to fight with. Without allies, we would have to surrender, because artillery would not have what to shoot with, and machine gun versus tank, you understand. Waiting for the battle is harder than the battle itself.
Забирай. 5, 9. Закривай. Кутумір. 84. Армата!
Fire.
Що це ви робите?
What are you doing? We clean the remaining gunpowder from the barrel, so the next load will not burn prematurely.
Нагад, так мовити,
Так, і збиваємо цей залишок, бо коли пхаєш слідуючий порох, щоб він не загорівся.
They try to strike different directions and to break where they find a weak spot. Where they manage to suppress our defense, that is where they gather. But looking at the actions of the 10th Mountain Assault Brigade, the one that never was withdrawn, we fight all the time. That is great. I can't say I am not happy with something or that we have huge problems. We withdraw from a position sometimes, but only when there is no use in holding it. When it is destroyed completely or surrounded. Surely we fall back sometimes, but the enemy's advance pace is in meters. Meters, just that, not kilometer. In my opinion, our artillery shoots more often. I can tell from where I stand and what I hear. You can tell on long term, really. For example, we have been near Bakhmut since April, and we are in the Donetsk region all the time. So we definitely feel their ammo shortage. Previously, each of our shots met 10 to 20 of theirs. Now the ratio is 1 to 15 or 1 to 2. Still, they shoot more often, but I feel shortage. Their problem is poor aiming and targeting. When we do it very well, they prefer cover shelling or some random targets. Air targeting is acquired how exactly? Air reconnaissance. 10th Brigade has it top-shaped. This is one of the main priorities. Good day. Hello. Have a seat. Here we are. I'm Nastya. I'm Lol. Nice to meet you. Likewise. This is my transit point. I come here once a week to have a bath and do my laundry. Good people gave us these bushcrafted kamikaze drones. They are so small. Indeed, they are. You can attach a battery here, and it carries 1 kilo easily. I don't know exactly, but it is cheap to make. Controller and glasses are used further, and the drone itself is 15 or 16,000 hryvnias, approximately $400.
Ага, тобто він зовсім.
We received 2 of them for a field test,
Я зараз якраз оце виїхав в тил.
and I had a chance to set it up to prepare the ammunition and to destroy something.
Підготувати
And there are a lot of targets just standing, not moving.
Цілей дуже багато, є і техніка, і все, що хочеш.
Стоїть на місці.
And we are a little short on other munitions. Can't use them much. During assaults, I help our guys with drone. I tell them where the enemy is.
От хлопці йдуть.
Same was when they took some captives. I told them to throw a grenade in each hole. I was sitting next to company commanders watching the battlefield from above, and we are constantly on the radio with the troops, correcting and telling them everything. I saw a movement in one hole. So I told them that the one with the red sheet has orcs derogatory for Russians in it. So the guys knew it and had surrounded.
Підійшли вже, все, знають, там обійшли це вокруг.
And the commander of that group was killed. What a hero. There have been a bunch of videos with him. I personally filmed how he was engaging in assaults. There was a situation. It had not been his first assault. We were moving towards the position. Nobody was in sight, and they were almost near the position already. It was about 5 meters to a dugout. I saw the body crawling out of there. I told the commander, there are orcs out there. He jumped aside. At the same time, the grenade exchange was held. The commander was wounded. He had been hit in the spine, arms, and legs. He was throwing a grenade but could not hit the dugout hole. Because the dugout entrance was coming from the other side, and the commander was throwing it from the opposite side, he could not hit the entrance of the dugout. While that bastard Russian soldier was firing, the commander decided to approach him from the different side and shoot him down straight in the face. Keep in mind, he was wounded. In spite of that, he continued to assault, finished the task, and hold the position. I know he fell there. This man was a true hero. He motivated almost the entire battalion. Just watch the videos with him. He made miracles happen. He was mobilized. He had not served before that at all. He had been a civilian and had worked as a builder. While we are conducting reconnaissance flights above our positions in order to spot if the bastards are still there. Here are 2, there are 2. Right away inform the infantry, so they already know and feel better that they are not alone, that we are watching. In the case of an attack, you would help them either with artillery or with your own forces. Whenever I fly up, I immediately say, the sky is ours. Any position, I fly up, I say that the sky is ours. And then when guys come back from the positions, they say, when I hear the sky is ours, I cross my legs and smoke a cigarette. It becomes calmer then. Copters and air reconnaissance is everything. I don't know how back then people fought without it.
Що це за книжка? Це Чорновол чи що? Я
не знаю.
The inscription Donbas quote, a time of great accomplishments.
Время великих свершений. Коли мені було 18 років,
When I was 18 years old, my brother and father were in the army. My father had just demobilized when I turned 18.
18 пішов в воєнкомат,
At 18, I went to the military office because I wanted to serve. I don't know if it is still a thing nowadays. Back then, the conscription age was 20 years old. I said that I wanted to enlist in the professional army. I was almost 19 years old already. The parental consent was required. My mom said, no way. But my acquaintance, military commissar, said, enlist in the conscript military. And then at the very first day you can transfer to professional. I did enlist in the conscript military and ended up serving there for half a year. I found myself in the 10th Brigade. You just happened to be assigned. Yes, I just happened to be in the 10th Brigade. But I was going to join the 108th Battalion anyway. I knew someone there. My brother was in the unit, and he had a friend who was in the 108th Reconnaissance Platoon. And his friend invited me to join them. Why did I serve in the conscript military? I'll say bad word corruption. I was accepted for the conscript service without any questions. I passed the medical commission, everything was okay. But if I wanted to join the professional army, they told me, give me $300 because of you have health issues. I did not pay anything. I just saw for that. Nowadays, they detain people in the streets to draft to the war. Now, I despise people who used to do this kind of thing. You have to pay money to serve in the military. My father went in the army. He also paid money to pass the medical commission. They told him, you have issues with health. What issues? Nothing. I want to fight. What about your brother, your father? My brother served in other units. Right now he's in the 79th Brigade, but he's in the hospital now. He was slightly wounded. Thanks God, a minor wound. And the father is in the Kherson direction now. Is he in some brigade too? Yes, some brigade. I can't remember the exact name now. What about mom? Well, I don't know. She's used to. She's graying. Here's the part. What is that? Plastic, right?
Що це пластик, да?
Yes. It's one of the parts of the drop system. How long does it take to print? Fully assembled on unit, about 3 hours. Soldering is another thing. It takes about 3 hours to print. We have a man who knows modeling. Is a profession like modeling also needed in the military now?
Професія, як от моделювання теж потрібно.
Certainly, are there jobs like that?
У вас є посада?
No, there aren't. The first part, the second part. Then you take this kind of thing, mount, put it here, and then you put it with the hull.
Типу ставиться сюди, і потім ставиться корпус сам.
It takes a little bit of electronics to make it work.
Нам потрібно трошки електроніки.
A special board is used with a Meta 328 processor. This board can be programmed as you wish. This is a small program. This is all written for this board. I load this firmware on this board. This is the brain of the dropping process, a photoresistor that reacts to light. Then the wires and one battery. Who makes that you? Well, yes, this is my workplace. So the deputy commander repairs drones, simultaneously makes bombs. I do my duties based on my position. As a hobby, if I have free time, I can do that work too. If the situation at the front permits, since I don't have any substantial management work, I sit down and do it. What's your education that you can do it? I have taught myself. My education is National Ground Forces Academy. We don't have that much ammunition for the artillery to take out the entire enemy, and gunners' fire can't hit as accurately as the drones.
Наприклад, він стріляє на дальність там 15-17 кілометрів, він ж не може так точно попасти вже, от як ми. Я, наприклад, можу підлетіти до...
I can fly up a drone to any blandage, to any burrow, and drop right in there on target. Very often we effectively use F1 grenades, then VOG-17, the main ammunition that we constantly use.
ВОГ-17, також це основний боєприпас, який ми постійно використовуємо.
M430 ammunition. This is from the American MK-19 grenade launcher and homemade ammunition. There are 504mm pellets in the center here. The function is when the ammunition falls and starts to come down, so that it stabilizes and flies straight down.
Потім, що нам ще потрібно для цього? Таке, що коштує, та й все, більше нічого. От, щоб мені надрукувати...
To print this part, I need 12 grams of plastic 4 meters from this spool. What are you having for lunch today? Rasalnik soup, rice porridge, and crab salad.
Ну і салат з крабових паличок.
We had two positions and enemies drove in between them and landed troops. That is, our guys were surrounded and their radio batteries were running out. They needed to communicate. And there was no way to bring it, so they were surrounded almost for 3 days. I brought them batteries from the firing position and everything was fine. And the sugar. What's the story with sugar? And with the sugar, I also ran around throwing grenades in front of our positions. The enemy was sitting in front of us, about 15 meters away, and we were throwing grenades. At that moment, I hear on the radio station guys from the infantry saying, "We need sugar." They answer, "We'll send it in the evening," and it was around 12 o'clock. I said, "What are you going to do without sugar until the evening?" And in jumped to the dugout. There was a jar of sugar. I said, "I'll bring it to you right away," and so I brought the guys sugar. How many of your drones have gone down? Well, I can't tell you in units, but I can tell you in hryvnias, give or take. How many? Probably 13 million, about $357,000. Hryvnias? Yeah. Well, maybe more. 13 million hryvnias. In particular, Mavic 3 costs somewhere around 100 now, right? Well, we had more than 100 of them fell down, even maybe 150. Only in your battalion. Yes. It was a very interesting situation. The guys were just entering the first dugout. No one came out of it, so they threw a grenade in. After that, they went further, took 4 more prisoners, and 4 more came out of that rear dugout. And 300 military slang for wounded remained there. The grenade wounded him. 4 of them came out. They asked if there was anyone else. He said, yes, there was 300. The guy said, let's kill him, and he said, no, I'm coming out here. Watch one of the recent assaults. Here is our small groups moving, one on the right, one on the left. Okay, when did we capture him? Where was he from? Somewhere in the far east of Wagnerian. From Khabrovsk. Really, Khabrovsk. That Yura comes in. He talks with an accent like the Germans used to Vania, go surrender. Where did you were taken from? Around 3 slups Poles, and you look at him thinking, what the fuck is slup? What is that? Near the 3 slups, but you already know what slups are, right? Of course I do. I have been in this battalion for 6 years. Who interrogated Wagnerians? You did? Anyone who wanted to. All who feel like it. It depends on what you want to know. If you just want to talk, then anyone can. And if it is about some specific, but what could be, they don't know anything. Just a first name and patronymic. They don't know the commander, they don't know everything. We came here. I did not shoot, you can't get anything from them. They need to be thoroughly interrogated. This is only my 2nd day at the positions. I have been fighting since February 24, but this is only my 2nd day at the position. And again, the 300 said then I came to fight for the sake of Great Russia. Yes, we are fighting against the collective West, and our previous commander had a cap with an American flag on it. The prisoner was being interrogated, and he said, we are at war with the collective West and all that, the Poles, the French. Then the guy comes in with that cap, and he looks at him and says, okay then. And he was bearded too. Yes. So he says, I'm fighting against the West. I don't want America to come to Russia. I'll be exchanged, and we'll go back to fight. Have you seen recent video where 10 Wagnerians were caroling? It was just at Christmas. They were caroling to us at Christmas. Convicts, unlike Wagnerians, are calm, singing Kolyad, Kolyad, Kolyadnitsia, good bread with honey. But it is not as good without honey. Give me a nickel, auntie. They came, surrendered themselves, tied their hands themselves. One of them had a torn tape. He said, fix it, his tape was torn, but he was transported like this in the car, all the way. And then he sat down on a bench and said, my tape fell off my hand. I said, you're a good guy, you are conscious, you said, and did not try to run away. Good for you. And he replied, why would I do that? You'll start beating me. He said, I'm not a fool to do that. How does it happen? They storm the place, and then the enemy forget, or what?
Штурмують, і що вони там забулися?
It all depends on the situation. It varies. They do not go there to captive someone. They fulfill the primary task if they have the opportunity. For example, if the enemy surrenders, it is clear that they do not shoot them, but take them prisoner. So, for example, there are 5 positions, but 5 is too many. Let's say there are 3 positions. 3 positions of the enemy unit. For example, we stormed the first one. If we stormed it without losses, if we succeeded, we immediately switch, start storming the second one without stopping. And that's it, we keep storming until we have, like while the effect of surprise is lasted. Yes, The faster people do this, the more effective the offensive is, because the enemy does not have time to realize what has happened. If we ran into a position, for example, within 5 minutes, stormed one position, the enemy, by the way, in the next positions, does not know that they have already been stormed, and we are already in front of them. This is how such maneuverable defense is going on here in Donbas all the time. That is, we lose one position, regain one, and then lose or regain, and we've been doing this for how long? For 10 months now. But your positions have moved a little bit anyway. Yes, we have moved a little bit. Well, I would not say it is critical. We have lost 2 kilometers of the front line in 10 months. I think it is. Your battalion lost 2 kilometers. About 2 kilometers. We need to rest now. We had rotations. Once there was one rotation, we were away for 8 days. 30 kilometers to the rear, 8 days of rest. Then we had intensive training for a week, because there were new personnel there. Mobilized people who had not yet been trained. And that was it, and back. 8 days off for 10 months, and then back.